Hi, and welcome to Getting Biblical, the show where I drink too much and talk about my favorite Bible stories. I am Matt Smith, your host, and thank you for joining us today. So, in today's episode, this is part 2 of where we left off last week. We left off right in the middle of the story where Jacob and Esau, Jacob was fleeing from his life, from his brother Esau, who had sworn to kill him because he had tricked their father into giving him the magical blessing. And on his journeys, he went over to go meet his uncle Laban, his mother's brother. And then he met his cousin, his beautiful, gorgeous cousin Rachel, and fell in love with her and made a deal to work for 7 years for her hand in marriage. And when he awoke on his honeymoon, the morning after of the wedding, he realized that he was married to Rachel's older sister, his other cousin, Leah, who was not as gorgeous, not as beautiful, and agreed to work for another 7 years if he could also marry Rachel. So now he had 2 wives. There were 11 males, 11 sons born to him, and 1 daughter, Dinah. And we left off there, and I didn't really have a great stopping point, so I just kind of cut it off and called it a day. And we're going to pick up on this week's episode right there. But before we do that, let's talk about what I'm drinking. To be honest, I've been kind of bouncing around a little bit tonight. I don't have any one good formal thing to talk about. I just got back from doing a trivia night with our group where there was a Star Wars themed trivia, and we did that together, and we're doing pretty good. We almost killed it, which by almost killed it, that means I got second place. We did not win. We actually got third technically at the end of it all. So it was this whole some bullshit where you play through, and we were killing it. The first round, the first 10 questions, we were in a big lead above everybody else. And then the second round, the next 20 questions, we kind of lost a little bit of footing. So we were still in second place. We were 4 or 5 points behind the first place, just by a hair. Had been up down to second place. But then you get to wager as many points as you want on that final question, the final thing, like Jeopardy, right? And that's what always kills us. We're smarter than everybody else in the room. I am narcissistic, if nothing else. I always think that I'm smarter than most people. One of my defining characteristics, I think. Not necessarily a great thing to brag about, but that's generally how it goes. And so there we were at the end of it, and the one team that had just squeaked above us and had taken the lead by a couple points, they bet all of their points on the final question, and we went a little bit more conservative, and so we ended up they took the lead by a far bit because they knew all the last question stuff, which was a series of 4 questions. Actually, you had to get all 4 right, and we did not surpass them. So anyways, a little bit of a roller coaster night as far as proving our mettle against other people as far as who was the biggest nerd, the biggest Star Wars nerd of the group. And we came in third, but that's fine. It was fun. It's a fun night. So that's what I've been drinking mostly. Had a few there. It was at a local brewery here in Florida. And then since that, I came home and I was like, well, I got to keep things going. Let's ramp it up. I got to get ready for the show. And so I actually have a bottle of Jim Beam. It's the 3rd time now I've talked about Jim Beam. It's a limited release. It's not their normal thing. It's their distiller's cut. And I picked this up over the weekend and had it when we had a bunch of friends over after Thanksgiving. So yeah, so kind of bounced around a little bit in the drinking stuff. Had just, hung out with some friends, had a good time. And now I'm here to talk about Bible stuff. And I think we're going to just leave it at that. So we're going to catch up here with Jacob. And he spent some time doing remember the whole speckled flocks versus the white coat flocks or whatever from his Uncle Laban. His Uncle Laban was like, hey, what do you want me to pay you? What do you want me to do to help? Because he spent 14 years getting a BOGO, buy one, get one free on wives. And so now he's married to both Rachel and Leah. And now he's getting the flocks as well from Laban. And he had this whole life hack, if you remember us talking about it, where he would take the wood and he would stripe it down and put it in front of the the powerful or the well bred whatever goats and flocks and stuff, and then they would have babies, and the babies would come out speckled, and then like when the kind of like the shittier, like the smaller whatever, the weaklings, he wouldn't put the stick out in front, so they would come out with as purebreds, and just like made his flock awesome and badass and like Asgardian level, like goats and sheep or whatever, speckled sheep and things. And Laban just had like this shitty little weak, pimply faced goats and sheep and whatever. And as this went on over some time, it went on for a couple years, but as time goes on, Laban wasn't an idiot. He noticed. He noticed what was happening. He saw what was going on. He saw the speckled flocks getting bigger and thicker and nicer and whatever, and his whiter flocks getting lesser and lesser. And there was some little bit of animosity that was growing. And Jacob noticed that he wasn't getting the best treatment. He was getting less and less on really great terms with his uncle Laban. And, rightfully so, I guess, sort of. So God comes to Jacob and tells him it's time to go home. Like we got to leave. And Jacob, he has a big family meeting with Rachel and Leah, and he's all like, "Listen, your dad doesn't really like me anymore, and God is telling us to go back home. We're super rich now. We have so much cattle. We've got so much stuff. We have the biggest flock of speckled and spotted cattle anywhere. Like none other. Like, no one can fight us. I think it's time to go back home. But, my wives, what do you think?" And Leah and Rachel are both like, yeah, in case you don't remember, our dad tricked you into marrying both of us. Our dad gave you a buy one, get one free deal on wives, like his daughters. He doesn't care about us. There's no inheritance for us. Let's bounce. Fuck him. We're out. We're done. We're gonna roll with you. You're our husband. We've got 11 or 12 kids now. Let's go. So Jacob kind of waits it out. And it's the annual time of the year where it's time to shear the sheep, right? It's Black Friday of sheep shearing, right? Whenever that lands. It's a very busy time. So Jacob and his family, they roll up with all their belongings and they start to leave. They're waiting for Laban to get busy shearing the sheep and doing everything. And as soon as it starts, as soon as 5 o'clock on Thanksgiving starts, when Black Friday's just about to go rolling in, Jacob and the girls, or his wives, and their children, everything, they move out. Autobots, roll out. Let's get out of here. They don't say goodbye. He doesn't give a resignation letter or put in his 2 weeks notice, or he no calls, no shows, and just dips, right? But Rachel, his favorite wife, is feeling a little bit extra petty about the whole thing. She's still a little bit butthurt about the way that her dad BOGO'd her sister into marriage and everything. So as Jacob and the family are all getting ready to go, and how Jacob is super dedicated to God and everything, a side note, right? So, Jacob and Isaac and Abraham and everybody, they're all about God. Well, Laban wasn't in that camp exactly. Laban wasn't super 100% about God. And Laban, in his house, had a bunch of idols that he worshipped. He was still into idol worship. And sometimes, here's a fun note, sometimes in the Bible, it'll name drop the foreign gods that the idols represent. A lot in Egypt and stuff like that, when the curses and plagues, and we'll get in that later. But there's a lot of times where and this god and whatever, and they're the bad ones, or the ones that that we're not supposed to give a shit about. But it'll name drop those. This one doesn't really name drop anybody here. It just says that Laban had a bunch of idols laying around his house. So you can use your imagination if you want to. You can assume that it was just a bunch of Buddha statues just everywhere, or if not, and that's horribly inaccurate and whatever. That's actually, it's probably impossible that was, because of the timeline of when Buddha came about and everything. So it definitely wasn't. But if you want to think of that, I'm okay with it, or just anything else. Have you ever watched? This is a weird poll. Have you ever watched the cartoon, Jackie Chan Adventures? I love Jackie Chan. The cartoon, I didn't watch every episode, but I watched quite a few of them just when it was on over the years. And I swear that show had like a cursed idol like every week. Some kind of, either it was a necklace or just a statue or just whatever, something, even a vase, whatever. I say vase because I think that's like how I'm supposed to say it, and not like the pretentious way to say it. I grew up saying vase. That's the vase. Can you grab a vase for the flowers? Oh, we have flowers. Oh, thank you for ripping up these weeds in the backyard, child. And let's put it in a vase. Vase is what we say, but vase is like, as I watched like Gilmore Girls and stuff growing up, like vase is what I thought was you're supposed to say. Anyway, weird tangent. But that's a cursed vase or vase, whatever you want to call it. And are those two different things? I don't know. Anyway, now I'm wondering, like, is it maybe a vase is a certain type of vase, like vases, like Kleenexes versus just Walmart things that you blow your nose into. I don't know. Anyway, whatever, guys. Whatever you want to imagine. So this guy Laban had a bunch of these idols in his house, and I just hope that they're all like, jade dragon, jade serpent, like Jackie Chan type shit, like maybe some Buddhas sitting around, whatever, that type of thing. But whatever you want to imagine, whatever type of gods. Did you ever watch Brady Bunch? Remember that? You remember when? Oh, none of you are gonna remember this. I think that most of my listeners are all millennials. If you ever watched the Brady Bunch, there was an episode where they went to Hawaii, and I can't remember which one it was. It was Peter or which one, but he found a necklace, like an idol necklace, and he picked it up because he thought it looked cool because they found it like near a cave or something. And the whole rest, it was like a two-parter, I think. For the whole rest of the show, he just had bad luck. And there was like in their hotel room, a tarantula for no reason showed up and almost bit him and killed him, which, back as far as the Brady Bunch goes, there's like two super dramatic things that happened. A football hit Marsha in the face, and she got, was it Marsha? I think it was Marsha. Was it the second one? I don't know, but a football hit a girl in the face right before it was picture day, and two, a tarantula showed up on somebody's pillow, and that was like the scariest things that happened in that show. That's the type of idol. That's the tiki idol, whatever thing that I'm talking about. That's what Laban had in his whole house. And I've been on a big tangent. We're fulfilling the story of the show where I drink too much and talk about my favorite Bible stories. So that's what we're doing today. Who knows? Maybe this is the best episode ever. Anyway, so Uncle Laban's got all these idols all over his house, which are not okay with people that follow God's commandments. So Rachel, right, beautiful Rachel, wanting to stick it to her douchey dad one last time as they're running away, as they're leaving, as they're no call, no showing to work the next day, as they're dipping out, she steals all the idols in Uncle Laban's house and takes them with her as she's running away. She just runs up and just scoops them all out and takes them with her, and they dip and they bounce. And they're on the run, they're headed out, and no one has any idea. She's the only one that knows. Jacob doesn't know, Leah doesn't know, no one knows. She just steals them and bounces. And they're 3 days on the run, and word finally gets to Laban. Remember, he's doing like Black Friday sheep shearing, whatever, right? The busiest time of the year. And he finally gets word 3 days later that Jacob and the daughters and the grandkids, they're all gone. So Laban drops what he's doing, and he starts to chase them. And 7 days later, he catches up with Jacob's caravan. He's like, here we go. He's ready to overtake him and ready to like I don't quite know exactly what's going to happen, but it's the night before he's going to overtake them. He's going to catch up. He is right there. But the night before that he does, Laban has a dream, and God comes to him in a dream. And God says, yo, Laban, watch yourself. I know you're about to catch up with Jacob and everybody tomorrow. I'm telling you, watch yourself. You need to act right. Act right tomorrow. Don't be killing anybody. Don't be doing anything stupid. You know what? I'm telling you, just act right. So the next day, Laban meets up with Jacob and the entourage and everything, and this man lays it on thick. He's all like, "Why did you deceive me? Why did you think you needed to sneak away? You stole away my daughters and my grandchildren as if they were captives. Like why did you kidnap my family members, my grandchildren? You kidnapped my grandchildren. You stole them away. You robbed me of my chance to throw a banging going away party. I would have made a feast, and there would have been singing and hugging, and I would have said have a good life, and we would have done this whole big thing. Why would you do this to me, Jacob? Why would you rob me of all this stuff?" Like, again, like he's laying it on thick, like making Jacob feel like a piece of shit. And and he continues. He goes, "I would be justified right now. I would be in the right if I laid hands on you." Right? You want to catch these hands? Like if he's like, you trying to fade right now? Let's go. "I would be justified if I did. But you're lucky because God came last night and he told me to leave you alone and not to let you catch these hands. Only reason. And he's like, so I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let all that go. Just give me back the idols that you stole." He's like, "That was not cool, man. It's one thing to steal my daughters, right? That's fine, okay. But don't steal a man's idols. Not cool, bro." You get the sarcasm in that, right? Anyway, that's what Uncle Laban says. And Jacob is all like, "What the F are you talking about? Like I get the whole like family things and like, okay, that was kind of rude. I maybe should have let you said goodbye and everything, but we didn't steal any idols. We did not steal any idols. I believe in God. I trust in God. I didn't steal no idols." And then Laban was like, "Yeah, you kind of did." And then Jacob comes back and is like, "Okay, all right, you know what? I'm so confident that we do not have your idols because that was not part of the plan. Go ahead, search our camps. Look through all the camps. Search through everything we have. Whoever stole them from you, whoever stole your idols, will be put to death." Not knowing that the love of his life, his favorite wife, the most beautiful whatever of all of his cousins, his beautiful number one girl Rachel, had stolen them. And so things are looking pretty bleak for our girl Rachel, right? Her husband, even though he loved her, just kind of condemned her to death because he was like, if anybody's got him, he didn't think it would be her. He was like, it won't be her. It wasn't even a thought in his head. It would never be her. So because they don't have any use for the idols. He didn't think of how petty she was going to be and how wanting to steal the idols just so that Laban didn't have them. He's just like, we don't worship idols. We don't need those idols. So he was adamant about it. So anyway, so Laban starts, like, he takes him up. He's like, great, let's go. So Laban starts looking around the whole camp, and he goes into Jacob's tent, no idols. He goes into Leah's tent, no idols. The children's tents, the servants' tents, no idols. And then he goes into Rachel's tent. And Rachel is sitting like in the corner of the tent, like off and away or whatever. And he starts looking around her tent and starts just like ruffling through her shit and like pulling out like her underwear drawer and everything and just like, kind of being a dick, just kind of looking through everything. And he's like looking around and like her whole room is disheveled. And our girl, is just sitting there. She's just sitting in the corner, just watching everything go down. And Laban is getting really mad at this point. He's getting really upset. And he just looks over at Rachel, who's just sitting in the corner, not like saying anything or doing anything. He's just like, "Are you just going to sit there? You're just going to sit there." And she says, "Oh, I'm sorry, Dad. I can't get up. I'm on my period." And Laban is like, "Ew, gross. Okay, bye." and he leaves her tent. Like, he just like enough said. I'm not, like, it's fine. Like, okay, I get it. You're just sitting there. Like, don't, just ew. But, spoiler alert, but not really, because this is the part where I tell you what happens. She wasn't on her period. It was a lie. She had taken the idols and she put them in like a camel's saddlebags and then dropped him like in a little like, I don't know if she like dug out a little bit like a hole in the ground or whatever, but she put him there, and then she sat on top of him and just kind of like laid her dress skirt over them or whatever, probably just covered them up a little bit, but she just sat on the bags that had the idols and just sat on it. And so she was sitting under, like they were under her the whole time. And like when her dad was like being all testy and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, I'm on my period," he's like, "Whoa, I ain't fucking with that. Like, you do you." And he just left. And so like the safest place in this whole camp to hide these idols was underneath her and her period. And it's absolutely like genius, and it's absolutely like so smart. Like yeah, he's not gonna mess with that. He's not gonna like get her to like jump up and like let him search on some stuff. Like, ew, like you're not gonna do that. Like, you know what? Like, what are you gonna find? Like a bunch of tampons in the dirt? Like, that's not, like, no one wants that. Like, so he let it go, and she hid the idols, and nothing happened. So Laban rolls out, and he doesn't find the idols. He doesn't know where they're at, and doesn't know anything. And now it's Jacob's turn to get livid. And Jacob goes into one of the best, one of the best mad, like angry speeches in the whole Bible. And he just goes off like, where are the idols? Where's the evidence? Also, how about that I worked for you for 20 years, 14 years for my 2 wives, and another 6 just because. And he talks about how hard he worked and how when a predator would like kill a goat, Joseph would take one of his own goats and replace it, and would tell Laban. He wouldn't even say like, "Oh, I'm sorry, like one of your goats is dead." He would just replace it and make it good. Even though it wasn't his fault, he would just do it. And how he just did everything that he could to make Laban profitable, and just was laying it on thick. Our boy laid it on thick. And just all this kind of stuff, like how I was doing it all for you, and I was doing great, and then you come and you treat me like this. You treat me like I'm a horrible person because I was scared to leave you, and I left kind of secretly, like whatever. Like he played it up, that angle. And Laban was like, "You're right. And Laban got put in his place, and he knew it. So Jacob grabbed some rocks, and this kind of, remember when I talked about Bethel? It's kind of his thing. He grabs some rocks and he makes a little pillar out of those rocks right there. So they make an agreement between Jacob and Laban that their family won't pass past that rock. They won't travel past those rocks towards Laban. And Laban promises not to pass by the rocks to come to Jacob's territory. It is literally the classic sitcom trope of taping off half of your side of the room and say, "This is my half. I'm going to be over here. That's your half. You stay over there." And none of us switches. Like, don't step foot over here, and I won't step foot over there. It's the same exact, like Family Matters, Full House, whatever kind of like Friday night, whatever, ABC, whatever, great Steve Urkel, whatever type stuff. It's just like that, but with more animal sacrifices. So that's about it for the story of Laban and Jacob. We're not done with this story. This episode's not done, but that's the end of Laban. Laban goes back to his home, and that's about it. So Jacob continues on with his wives and his children and everything, and their speckled flocks and their goats and everything, and they get closer and closer to their homeland, to where his brother Esau, who now 20 years ago had sworn that he would kill Jacob once their father passed away. So Jacob's a little worried that Esau is still feeling kind of tight about the whole blessing and birthright thing. So Jacob sends out some messengers ahead of the caravan to meet with Esau and hopefully smooth things over. So the messengers go out and they meet with Esau, and they come back pretty quickly. And the messengers say, "We told him we were with you, Jacob, and he's coming to meet you." He really was kind of adamant that he really wanted to meet you himself. And also he's bringing 400 men with him. He's on his way right now. And Jacob is like, shit. Like, he's really worried. He's really upset. He's really like when the brother's like, "Nope, I'm coming. I'm gonna go meet. I'm coming." The man my brother that I swore to kill, he's now in my close enough vicinity. I'm gonna go out and meet him, and I'm bringing 400 dudes. That's not normally a good sign. So Jacob's all worried. And Jacob goes on this like big strategic thing. He splits up his camp. He takes half of all of his employees and whatever and his flocks and everything. He splits them up and makes 2 camps. That way, if Esau attacks one camp, then the other one can still escape, right? So half of them still make it out, right? It's a good plan. That's the plan. Good plan. And then Jacob sets up. There's a little moment also where he like prays to God and says a bunch of nice things and like how God has taken care of him up until now and God's been great. And it'd be a real shame if God would let him die to the hands of his brother Esau. Like just kind of like throwing that in there, like you've really put a lot of effort in my life and making sure that I'm okay. This would be a really shitty way to end the story. FYI, nudge, nudge, elbow, elbow, whatever. So then he kind of does that. And then Jacob sets up a huge present to Esau. He's trying to buy his way out of this mess, right? And he gathers 200 female goats, 20 male goats, 200 female sheep, 20 rams, 30 milk camels, which I don't even know is that different from a regular camel? Like, or milk camels specifically a different like version or breed of camels? I don't know. But 30 milk camels and their babies, 40 cows, 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys, and 10 foals. 10, what was that, like baby horses, right? Or maybe female baby donkeys? I don't even know. Like, whatever. No, foals are horses, I think. I'm pretty sure the foals are horses. It's just like I don't know, like a worse non-sing-songy as much. You could probably make it. Like, not like, what's that song? I don't even, like, the 12 days of Christmas, whatever. Like, I don't like. I'm Jewish. I don't know these songs. It's like, yeah, like on the whatever night of Christmas, my true love gave to me 200 female goats, 20 male goats, 200 female sheep, 20 rams, and 30 milk camels. I don't know. That's so stupid, but it's like that. It's just this whole list of the different animals that he's given. So he takes all these groups of animals, and with each group of animals, he puts out a servant to take them. So he doesn't send them all out at one time. He spaces them out and puts the 200 female goats out front and puts one person with them, and like you're in charge of the female goats. And then like puts a little bit like a space, like right, like a quarter mile or half a mile or something behind them. And then you got the 20 male goats, and you got another person in charge of them. And then another like I don't know, whatever we want to settle on, another quarter mile or whatever behind them. We've got 200 female sheep, and the guy with them, and so on and so forth with the rams and the milk camels and the cows and the bulls and all that. So all these different herds, they're just marching through, and they get special instructions that when they meet Esau, they all have to grovel, and they have to come up and tell him that these are gifts from Jacob, and please receive them, please take them. And I know I made this joke before, and I don't know, hopefully it's not getting old, but I love it. I just imagine it's the whole, like, the Prince Ali song from Aladdin. It's the same thing. They're all marching up to Agrabah, right? You know, the song even could work with, like, both of these songs. The one I just did, you know, the whatever Nights of Christmas, like, you could do that. All these songs. If someone was more talented than myself, they could make parody songs of what's happening in the Bible with what we're used to. But the song even works. You can even, like, make the same with the last song. Same with the thing we just did with the nights of the Christmas and whatever. Like, how does it's Prince Ali, fabulous he, Ali, blah 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 blah, strong as 10 men, blah 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 blah. And then like that, I'm skipping over that part. Then it goes into the animal stuff, right? He's got 75 golden camels. Don't they look lovely, June? And then, like, you know, with 60 elephants, llamas galore, with his bears and lions, a brass band and more, with 40 fakers, his cooks, his bakers, his birds that warble on key, make way for Prince Ali. Like the whole thing. Yeah, like, you know, rest in peace, Robin Williams. Like, it's fantastic, right? It's the same thing. You know, same thing, just but like, you know, 200 speckled goats and 20 speckled rams, and there's a parody in the song. I know there's a parody song in there somewhere. Like, we got this. Like, we should do that. Anyway. Where was I? So he sends out this whole caravan and then makes one final preparation. As all these animals and all these flocks are going out, he takes his wives and he takes his children and everything that he actually holds dear, everything that he really likes, and he takes them as far away as he can in a single night's journey. Not like he doesn't book, he's not leaving, he's not trying to run away from his brother. He's just trying to get the things that he loves away from him, away from danger, right? So he takes them like further away, like a night's journey, takes them beyond a river. It says the ford of Jabbok. The ford of Jabbok. They go past that. And he's not dipping. And he sets up his family, his loved ones, and everything he cares about most past this ford of Jabbok or whatever. And he turns back. He's like, I don't know, he probably like hugs and kisses him or whatever. And says like this might be goodbye if things go really south, but I have to go be a man and I have to go see my brother Esau. If he kills me, he kills me. I'm going to try to make sure that doesn't happen. But if it does, I got to go. So he leaves then again and rushes back. He's rushing back to where Esau's going to be. And he can't make it. He's already spent a bunch of the night like traveling to make sure his family was safe. So he starts to head back, and then at this point he's all alone. And he stops for a moment, and he builds a little bitty camp just for himself, just one little fire pit, one little spot for him to sleep. He's all alone. There's nobody else around. And then things get weird. So remember when we talked about Abraham and Lot, and right before Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed, and Abraham is visited by 3 quote unquote men. And later we find out that it was God and 2 angels the whole time, right? Like it was me, Dio. And well, Jacob, out here by himself on the eve of seeing his brother who had vowed to kill him 20 years prior, Jacob, alone in the night, he meets, as the Bible says, quote unquote, a man. That's all it says. Feels very similar to when, those other guys showed up for Abraham, right? It just says, oh, and a man was there. And Jacob, and real quick, in a very un-Jacob-like thing, because remember, Jacob is the trickster. He's clever. He's book smart. He's indoorsy. He loves making stews, not hunting things. Well, Jacob, it's very brief. It's very, I really wish this was a whole chapter all by itself, but it says Jacob meets this man, this unnamed man, and they start wrestling. I don't know what, like if he was talking shit about his mama or what he was doing, but Jacob's like, we got to wrestle right now. And it's just random. I feel like it's so random. But they start wrestling. I guess spending the last 20 years life hacking animal husbandry and making speckled sheep have speckled baby, or having white sheep have speckled babies, and doing whatever he did. I don't know. Being the father of 11 children or 12 children makes him pretty strong. So he's able to wrestle this mysterious man all night. And to the point that this mysterious man, who I guess had been playing fair up to this point, they were having a fair bout, a fair wrestling match, at near daybreak or so, this mysterious man is over it. He's like, okay, I'm bored of this. I'm tired of this. I don't want to wrestle you anymore. And he magically touches part of Jacob's upper thigh area, which instantly just fucks him up and damages something up there and gives Jacob a limp. He now can hardly even use one of his whole legs. He messes him up with just one touch. But Jacob had grown into being such a badass. He didn't give a shit. And he kept wrestling with the guy. And the sun came up, and the mysterious man is like, come on, bro. Let's call it a tie. I've got to go. I have things to do. I can't be out in the sun. Maybe he was a vampire. I don't know. I don't think that's where the story's going, but he didn't want to be out in the sun. He's like, I got to go. And Jacob Jacob gets him in a headlock, right? He's doing the whole, like, the one hand of barn, over the neck, and like the other hand, like I got you, like a sleeper hold. He's doing it, and he's like, it's not over until you give me a blessing. Like Jacob really has a boner for these blessings. Like he's about them. It's what got him in this trouble to begin with. Like him trying to get Esau's blessing, and here he is wrestling with a man all night. Like, give me a blessing. I want your blessing, and he won't let him go. And the mysterious man says, "What is your name?" And he says, "Oh, my name is Jacob." And the mysterious man says, "From now on, your name will be Israel. For you have fought with both man and God and have prevailed." And Jacob says, "Cool." He goes, "And what is your name?" And the mysterious man just says, "Come on, be cool. Don't ask my name. Like, don't say that. Like that doesn't need to be said out loud. Like, just let it go, man." And then he leaves. He disappears. And Jacob's like, was that even a blessing? I mean, this isn't paraphrasing. This is Matt. This is me asking. Like, was that even a blessing? Like, he's like sleeper holding him. Like, give me a blessing. He's like, I'm gonna change your name. Like, I don't know. I don't understand how this blessing thing works. Like, it doesn't feel like that was what he should have been looking for, right? It should have been like, you're gonna win the lottery next week, like Mega Millions, Powerball. You're about to get it. You're like 3 tickets away. That feels like a better blessing. He's like, no, like, you're not gonna be called Jacob anymore. We gave you unless he just secretly hated the name Jacob the whole time. Like, he's always hated the name Jacob. He's like, give me a blessing before I put you in a sleeper hold. And he's like, you're going to be named Israel. He's like, you know what? I've always liked that name. I've always liked Israel. That's what I want to be now. And maybe he was cool with it. Maybe that's all it was. I don't know. Who knows? So the mysterious man leaves. And so Jacob renames that place, which, again, it's the thing that Jacob just does. I guess it's like Peniel? I don't know. Because he had seen the face of God and lived. I guess, like, Peniel? It sounds really dirty. The more I say it, the more I inaccurately say it, it sounds dirtier and dirtier. But it means the face of God, which definitely sounds like a perfect Kryptonian name, right? It's definitely like a cousin of Kal-El's, right? His father, Jor-El, says, hey, young Kal-El, meet your cousin, Peniel. Peniel? I don't know. Still kind of sounds like penis. Like the penis of God is, I think, what it's supposed to. Peniel? Well, that's what it should mean. So Jacob goes on his way to meet with his brother Esau. But he's limping because his leg got magically wounded from the fight. And is this where I'm going to talk about this? I'm gonna bring it up briefly. So there's a thing in like kosher food, kosher law. It's actually unkosher, even if an animal is kosher, like a cow or whatever. Even if the animal is kosher, it is unkosher to eat that part of the. This is not made up. This is true. It is unkosher to eat that part of the thigh. They've narrowed it down to the sciatic nerve of the hip bone. That's where it's defined as that part. But that part, the sciatic nerve of the hip bone, is not to be eaten. That's unkosher because it's in remembrance of this night of when Jacob fought all night with the mysterious man, right? God made flesh, essentially. Spoiler alert. Or whatever you want to call it. But we still don't eat that, which I think is actually pretty awesome. I think it's pretty cool. Like, we're like keeping it alive, keeping the story going, keeping it alive. We're not, even when we eat food now, eat animals, we don't like we're gonna leave that alone just because. And also, like, no one says like the sciatic nerve of the hip bone is like where the best juicy meat is or whatever. Like, no one cares about that. Like just for the sake of the story. I think it's super cool. I think it's awesome. I don't care what y'all think. So, anyways, Jacob is back at his little camp right now, and he sees Esau there with 400 men with him, and he rightfully goes into full-on panic mode. So on one side, we've got a big, hairy, rugged ginger Esau slowly marching with 400 men at his side. And opposite him is Jacob. Just Jacob. Jacob and no one else. he's got behind him a ways back. He's got two little camps of different speckled goats and things, and way even further beyond where you can see, he's got his family in another little tent camp. But marching out here against Esau and his 400 men, it is just Jacob by himself, all alone. He's manning up. And he goes into full-on apology mode, and he bows down to his brother 7 times. And, like, this is how I think it went down. It wasn't like he walked out and, like, bowed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think he went out, got on his knees, got on the ground. Like, this is, like, still, like, probably, like, I don't even know, like half a mile or a quarter mile away or something like that. And he gets on the ground, and he gets on his knees, and he bows down. And he holds it for a second, and then he gets up. And then he walks like 10 feet, 20 feet ahead. And he gets down on his knees, and he bows down again. And he gets back up. And he walks further more, we walks another 20 feet or whatever ahead. And he does it again. I think it's this whole big ritual of like not, not rapid fire. He's not machine gunning. He's not trying to, like, get through these battles as quick as possible. He's trying to make us a grandiose, like a big thing. So it's, walk a bunch, bow. Walk a bunch, bow. 7 times over. Anyway. So on the 7th time, he's right now in front of Esau. He's like arm's length away almost. And he looks up after the 7th bow that he does, this big grand gesture that he does. And he looks up and he sees his brother Esau at that moment running towards him. And as Esau arrives at Jacob, Esau hugs him. And they cried together. They both cried, just two brothers, two regular brothers who hadn't seen each other in 20 years, crying together. And it's actually nice. Like, Esau forgives him, and it's super sweet, and it's loving, and it's pleasant, and they back and forth, and like I missed you, I haven't seen you for 20 years. You have a wife and kids now, or no, I've got like 2 or 4, however you want to count them. Like, I got a bunch of wives, like all this kind of stuff, and it's very nice. And Esau's like, who are these women and children that I've heard about or whatever? He's like, oh, these are mine, and that God's blessed me with them. And Esau says, that's so awesome, that's so cool. What about all these animals and like the whole Prince Ali song I heard about? Like, is there something about, like milking camels? What was that deal? And Jacob says, like, oh, those were all for you. Like, I gave those all to you. I thought you needed some more milking camels. And Esau's like, ha, bah. Like, I have enough. Don't worry about me. Let your things be your things. I don't need your speckled goats or your milking camels. Like, trust me, I got enough of the milking camels. Like I'm up to here. I'm up to here with milking camels. I don't need yours. And they argue, kind of like the whole, like when you go to dinner with your parents or whatever, and they argue about who's going to pay the bill. Like, no, let me pay. Jerry, I got it. Don't worry. Like, no, I'm going to pay. Like, no, I got it. That type of thing. Like, I gave you the milking camels. Take the milking camels. Like, we don't need the milking camels. Keep your milking camels. Like, no, they're for you. They're your milking camels. Like, this whole back and forth is what I imagine. And then Esau basically says, come back to my house. Let's hang out. And, we'll catch up and everything. And Jacob says, I'll meet you there. I have small children and like baby cattle and some whatever stuff. So we're not going to run over there, but we're going to take a little bit of time. But I'm definitely coming. I'm definitely coming back home. Don't you think I'm not? I'll catch up with you. And they split up a little bit, they hug and whatever. And so Esau runs back home, and Jacob is in tow. And they go back and they do a whole family reunion thing, which I'm going to get to later. But they spend some time there, and it's nice. And Jacob buys a plot of land from a guy nearby named Shechem, or rather, actually, it's Shechem's father, Hamor. But then God says, God comes and says, after their family reunion and everything, after he buys this plot of land from Shechem's father, Hamor, God tells him, you got to go back to Bethel, go back to that place that you had that dream about the stairway to heaven and everything. And God tells him to go back there. And I'm really skipping over like kind of some stuff here, but they go back to Bethel, the stairway to heaven spot, and God comes to him in a dream again and reiterates the whole, we're going to make you a great nation. You're going to be awesome. Also, your name isn't Jacob anymore. Your name's now Israel. We're going to call you Israel from here on out. And then his favorite wife, Rachel, during all this, she had gotten pregnant again. But unfortunately, she died in childbirth. So she brought forth the last of Jacob's sons, his 12th son, and they named him Benjamin. And this brings us to the point where we have all proper 12 of the houses of the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and how that all comes about, right? The children of Israel. This is how Jacob got the name Israel. This is where the Israelites come from. This is everything all coming together. His name was changed and everything. This is what it is. So I want to give the full breakdown real quick. We're near the end. I know it's been a long episode, but we're coming to the end. Here's the listing of the tribes of Israel. Now the sons of Jacob were, I'm going to read this a little bit. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah were Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin. The sons of Bilhah, Rachel's servant, Dan and Naphtali. The son of Zilpah, Leah's servant, Gad and Asher. So all 12 of the sons of Jacob, right? The 12 tribes of Israel. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher, Joseph, and Benjamin. Those are the 12. Those are 12 houses. And there's a lot to talk. Oh, and also Dinah. Dinah, the daughter. We can't forget her. I didn't mean to forget her at all. But yeah, and we're going to stop right there. This is where we get them all. This is where we go from here. This is where we talk about in next week's episode and future episodes about the 12 houses, about the 12 tribes of Israel. And we've already established Jacob's favorite wife and the children that she gave him, which Joseph and Benjamin. So don't think for a second that his favoritism for that wife did not spill over to favoritism for his children and the drama that comes from that. I've got a couple filler episodes that I'm working on, but the story of how that all plays out is going to take us a few weeks. But it's pretty great. There's a lot of great stuff. There's, not to get spoilery, but there's alleged murder. There's dreams. There's affairs that are happening. Some like cougars or milfs. I'm not sure. Like we'll try to like research more of that. But there's a lot of stuff happening. A lot of stuff that goes into it. A rainbow coat. Awesome stuff. Anyway, so can't wait to talk about it. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you had fun. I had a great time talking about it. This is one of my favorite stories. Just all the stuff, like the fact that Jacob like wrestled basically God all night long, and fought for his blessing, which ended up being a name change. And just everything that happened, like sticking it to Uncle Laban and the idols, and using being on your period as a kind of a cover to protect yourself. There's all kinds of stuff that happened in this episode that I really like. I think it's awesome, and it's a great end of the two-parter. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're having fun. Again, always thank you for listening. I know it's a very long episode, so I'm not going to get too long-winded. You know the deal. Please retweet, please share, please whatever. I really want to keep this going. I love doing these episodes. I hope that other people are liking them too, and I want to keep making more, so I can't do that if only 2 people a week listen. So I guess technically I could, but it would be a punch in the gut if that was what it ended up being. Luckily, we're not there. We've actually I'm pretty happy with the numbers that we're getting out there. But if you do like the show, don't ever feel shy or whatever to tweet me and say like, hey, like, love this episode, or hey, I like, like what you're doing. Those are like, I can't even express, since we're not doing any of the show for money or anything like that at this point. I'm doing it as a creative outlet, just something for fun. Kind words and nice things about stuff is kind of all I have to go on. So don't ever hesitate to, DM me or publicly, either on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and just say like, hey, like, love what you're doing, please keep it up. This is a highlight of my whatever Tuesday commute, or whenever you listen. We release new episodes every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Anyway, just throwing it out there. So hit us up on social medias, and thank you for listening. I hope you have a fantastic day. Cheers.